Hello everyone, welcome back to Cooking with Cassie and Family. In today's episode, we're going to be making Haitian bouillon. This is a delicious, common Haitian soup that everyone enjoys to eat. There are many different ways to make this dish. I like to make mine like this. To begin the cooking process, I've already have my meat seasoned and marinated. Today, I'll be using goat meat. You can use any meat of your choice. Traditionally, we love to eat bouillon with red meat. It's best served with beef, or you can use goat meat like I am using today. Any other red meat will work as well. For traditional bouillon, you'll want to use meat that has the bone in. Avoid using stew meat as it will soften up too quickly while you are cooking your bouillon. You'll also want the bone in for the broth for a richer flavor, similar to making bone broth. I have already prepped and marinated my goat meat, and now I'll be adding in some homemade broth. This is a chicken broth and a turkey brine broth. You can also use any store-bought broth of your choice. Mine were previously frozen. You can make your own broth using the goat meat. Simply fill your pot up to the top with water. Make sure to add vegetables and seasonings, but I highly recommend using some type of pre-made broth for a delicious flavor. I'm going to add this to my stove and let it come to a boil. If you are going to use goat, keep in mind that the cook on this may take up to an hour, even an hour and a half to get the desired texture. I prefer mine soft but not falling off of the bone. If you have made it this far into the video, I'd like to ask you for a huge favor. Please consider subscribing to my channel, liking this video, sharing with a friend that you know needs to see this. Bouillon is one of those dishes that you'll need to wake up early to start. The cook time on this dish can take up to 6 hours, just boiling and getting the broth right. The broth is the most important part. Start as early as possible. You've been warned. From here, I'm going to add 2 cups of water. Never allow your broth to dry up. Keep adding water as needed. Pro tip is to add whatever water you normally drink to the broth. Pre-boiled water from a kettle. Avoid cold tap water. As the broth is cooking, I'm going to prepare the next set of ingredients. The carbs. I will be using purple malanga. I apologize, but I have no idea what this is called in English. A large fall carrot. I usually see this in my grocery store during the winter months. I guess they're in season. You can also use a regular carrot. Any onion of your choice. Mine is a sweet onion. 2 tomatoes and 6 golden potatoes from my local Caribbean market. I usually cannot find some of these ingredients at my regular grocery store. I definitely recommend sourcing ingredients going to a Caribbean or Asian market. You'll also need 2 bags of spinach. Fresh or frozen will work just fine. We'll be chopping the spinach later on in the video. You can get frozen pre-chopped. Once your ingredients are chopped and ready to go, you'll need to add to a bowl 1 cup of water, 3/4 cups of vinegar, and salt to add it to your vegetables. Stir it together, add to the side for later. This technique will keep your ingredients from browning while we wait. It's important not to skip this step. Here I have my chopped spinach, along with diced tomatoes, onions, and celery. I'm going to squeeze 1 whole lemon cut in half to all of these vegetables. The lemon will help the natural flavors of these vegetables stand out in the stew. Set it to the side. Once you have your meat to your desired texture, drain the broth using a mesh strainer. Taste the broth. Mine is seasoned the way I like it. Taste for salt. Adjust and readjust your seasonings as needed. You'll also want to remove the meat from the broth, separated in different bowls. To mine, I'll be adding hot sauce to give a little bit more flavor without it being overly spicy. If you like spice, use jalapenos or a chili pepper. Spice and goat meat go hand in hand. Taste delicious. Set this to the side so that we can use it later. Make sure the broth and the meat are separated because we'll be adding them at different times. Season your meat. If you'd like to know how I season and prep my meat, prep video in the comments. Set this to the side to be used later. From here, you'll want to make your boy. This is a traditional Haitian dumpling. I have a special recipe I like to use and we'll be sharing it on this channel at some point. Going to add the dumplings to the broth, only the dumplings. We'll add the other vegetables once the dumplings have been cooking in the broth for about 30 to 35 minutes. Once your dumplings are fully cooked, then add in your other vegetables. Do not add the vinegar water that the vegetables were soaking in earlier. Too much acid. Be sure to give it a good stir. Incorporate all of the veggies with the broth. Cook until the other vegetables are tender to your preference. By this point, your bouillon is 75% complete. Give everything a nice stir. Mix everything together. Let the vegetables cook in the broth along with your dumplings until everything is tender to your preference. Taste your food for seasoning. By this point, your broth should already be fully seasoned. You wouldn't need to add any seasoning, but if you find that it is lacking, now would be the best time to add it, allow it to fully incorporate and cook along your vegetables and the dumplings. Once you have all of the vegetables to your desired texture, the last thing to do is to add in your meat. Since everything is pretty much cooked by this point, just turn your stove on low, let everything come down to a simmer, let the bouillon sit for about 5 minutes before serving, and that is a job done. A special thank you to you who made it to the end of this video. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I thank you for watching. Leave me a comment on what you'd like to see next, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.